Welcome back, folks. With that being said, right before the break, we had our commenter Pat talk about Rocky Top, right? Them volunteers. Um, but here is a new segment that we're going to introduce, and I think it's a little bit late, but it's better late than never. And the new segment is called "Sorry for Your Loss." Let us explain. Sorry for your loss. We take a team, multiple teams for that matter, that lost Saturday or whenever they played this week, and we pontificate upon that. And what better way to start than with those lousy ass Tennessee Vol fans? My God, how much shit we've heard from Tennessee ever since we played them, and even before when we played them, the grass was too high. Couldn't do it on a neutral field. Right? All this bullshit, all of it. We're gonna get back to the playoffs. Y'all can't beat us here. Blah 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 blah. All this rambling and all this trash talk for you to get utterly embarrassed by South Carolina Saturday. South Carolina destroyed you Saturday. However, I'll give you credit. It wasn't in Neyland Stadium, so probably you could win them on a neutral field. But nonetheless, your ass got obliterated by South Carolina. And the beautiful thing about it was this: 63-38. Just let's set that in, guys. 63-38. Spencer Rattler hasn't looked good all year, and you made him literally have a case for a Heisman campaign just off of your game. It's that simple. You're an overrated ass fucking team, and you're dog shit. You can't handle the big dogs, and just proved that South Carolina was too much for you. It doesn't matter what you think now. There's no chance for you to get into the playoffs. None. You sitting there sweating about. Listen, you could have sweated Tennessee, could have sweated, the Michigan game, the TCU game. It don't matter anymore. It don't. You'll be lucky to make the Citrus Bowl. You've got a team that's coming up. It's November, and you've got to worry about, checkering Vanderbilt Stadium. Good luck trying to beat them. I'm not going to sit here and bash somebody for getting injured. Listen, I hope Hendon Hooker a quick recovery. Never like to see injuries, but you please do not use that as an excuse for that ass whipping that you took, because y'all were down 17 when he went down. It wouldn't have mattered. You got your shit pushed in by the Gamecocks, and since you like to compare, that's the team that only scored 7 on us. So keep that energy when you go to Vanderbilt, and if you might make it to the Citrus Bowl. It's that simple, folks. Your season's over. You're garbage. You exceeded expectations, but nowhere where you thought you would when you shit talking all season when you started winning them games. It's that simple. Kobe, Juan, y'all want to pontificate upon that?
I can start. I think you reached hit a lot of the points. I think sorry not sorry. For me, sorry would be I am sorry to see Hendon Hooker go down. I mean, it's just a terrible injury. It's a 8 to 12 month recovery. He's already 24. He's in his last year. He's probably, as much as you hate to say, the fast track to at least top 2 in the Heisman voting if he continued to play the way he did. I think he was less than 100 yards from being the all-time leading passer in UT history. I mean, the kid was on a record-breaking track on a above average team. Not saying they win the game if he doesn't get hurt, but you just hate it because he's not going to be able to throw at pro day. He's not going to be able to run at pro day. He's not going to be able to do anything going into this draft after such a great year, such hard work. I really do feel for him more than anything. For Tennessee fans, however, I don't feel bad because at some point you do have these teams that, like we talked about last night, if you would have came to Tennessee fans in August and said, you're going to have a 10-2 season, would you take it, yes or no? A majority of them would say, yes, I would love to have a 10-2 season. We haven't been 10-2 in forever. The problem is when you start 7-0. I think that's right. 7-0 and beat Alabama, #1 in the country. You've tasted what possible playoffs may taste like. You come in and you slip up against Georgia, but you kind of take a step back and go, well, that's okay. We're at 5. 2 teams ahead of us still have to play. We're going to be 11-1 with the best loss in the country, possibly. The playoffs really were still ahead of Tennessee. And then you just come in and, for whatever reason, everything kind of catches up to you. Everything we've been saying about them, your defense, your passing defense, that fast tempo that makes your defense be out on the field for a long time, it all implodes in one game, and you get 63 hung on you. And that's just embarrassing, and it's not something that an elite program would ever let happen to it.
63. Listen, there's someone in our chat that thinks that 63. All you got to do is minus the 8, and it's 63-3. Think about that right there. Obviously, there's more than 3 points on the board, but listen, I'm just letting y'all know. I ain't never seen South Carolina's offense look that explosive. Like, period. Spencer Rattler was comfortable. You know what that tells me? That defense is ass, folks. It's garbage. We knew it was coming. Like, they've been playing a fine line. Like, basically, it seemed like Tennessee was comfortable with saying, okay, we know, but we're going to score more points on you. The problem is, this is exactly what happens when you don't have a good day throwing the ball and scoring points. You scored, but your defense couldn't stop a damn cold. Like, you couldn't stop anything. So you sit there, you listen, all credit to the Gamecocks, all credit. But that team against Florida last week didn't score an offensive point. Their touchdown came off of a special teams touchdown, folks. They got 7 points against Georgia, and that was literally in the last minute. The offense is
Give it to them. Tell them, Juan. Your Gators putting them on South Carolina Gamecocks.
Man. Yeah, that was just bad. I mean, Spencer Rattler is not a good quarterback. He's not at all. And for him to have 438 yards, 6 touchdowns, that's just bad.
Man, that's a creative player right there. That's a creative player on NCAA football.
Yeah.
Those are the numbers right there.
Yeah.
Rudes, I think I'm going to bark reading that comment. Summary of me today. You bombed out and depleted like Afghanistan. Oh, it's the haters ball. Oh.
We also have to talk about Juan's beloved Florida Gators.
And no, that's you mean Adonis's beloved Gators.
And
that's not mine.
And the choke job at Vanderbilt.
Uh-oh, is this sorry for your loss? Is this Kobe sorry for your loss?
I mean, it can be my sorry for your loss. It just, I'm not going to act like we didn't tell you, because we did. We told you that a first-year head coach struggles. They do. They always have. The only one I can think of that's exceeding a bunch of expectations right now is Dan Lanning. And even he had a rough game, 2 weeks ago against Washington. But it's just hard. I mean, Kirby Smart lost to Vandy his first year. Nick Saban lost to ULM his first year. All these Florida fans who are like, oh, Billy's the answer, Billy this, Billy that. It's like, you get beat by Vandy. You let Vandy score 38 on you. And now all of a sudden, people are jumping ship on Billy. It's like,
what's sad is that Chuck Lee is the first-year head coach at Vanderbilt. So to be a first-year coach at a premier program like Florida, to get beat by a first-year coach at trash Vanderbilt.
He's second, ain't he? That's his second year, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's his second year.
Is it his second year?
It's his second year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still it's Vanderbilt, bro. It's still Vanderbilt.
It's Vanderbilt.
Well, and it didn't happen. I think the other thing it'd been one thing, like you always talk about the old fake field goal or the old block field goal that beats you. but it wasn't that. It was Vanderbilt dominating that game. I mean, they scored 38. They were up by 17, I think, at one point.
Yeah, they actually had control of that game. And if I'm not mistaken, they kind of let Florida back into it. Florida had some momentum. It just wasn't enough. And then it seemed like Vanderbilt's defense kind of like held their ground and forced the fourth, basically a 4 and out, I think it is, for the game to be iced out and be done. But, but nonetheless, though, man, you look at look at what Clark Lee's done at Vanderbilt quietly, right? Like everybody wants to shit on Vanderbilt for being terrible, but
and they are.
At the same time, though, like what we're not looking at it on the same level as like Sam Pittman. Right? We're not going to do that. Your boy. But we are going to – you have to take into context just how bad they are and the fact that they've won 2 conference games, one in the SEC East, which hadn't been done in a while. That's – to me, that's impressive. And Vanderbilt will never be the more talented team with anyone else in the SEC for the foreseeable future. But you can't tell me those guys didn't play with a bunch of fucking effort, though.
Oh, listen. Strap your chin straps on this weekend. They play Tennessee. Tennessee's been talking a lot of junk. They want to check her up Vandy Stadium. I'm not saying Vandy goes 3 in a row, but I'm saying it's a reality check if you're Tennessee. All your air just got taken out of your tires. You're thinking playoffs, and now you're thinking, oh, well, we're going to end the year playing at Vandy. Watch out.
Yeah, Pat brings up they didn't lose though, but he does bring up a good point though. Let's talk about the teams that we thought that should have had easy games last year, or this past Saturday that struggled. There's no reason. First off, I'm not a fan of these cupcake games in late November. I'm just not a fan of it. But when you have A&M struggling to a fucking UMass team, that's basically a loss win in itself. It's a moral loss. Like, did you guys see Kyle Field right after halftime? Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean that was pretty bad. I mean
that looked like Afghanistan. It was bombed out and depleted.
High school stadium in January, like absolutely nobody out there except for kids running track. I mean, there was no one there.
Yeah, I honestly, man, like it's gonna baffle me. Like, it won't baffle me either way. I guess I should say this. I should backtrack a little bit here. A&M has put themselves in such a damn bind by thinking that it was smart to keep Jimbo and extend that contract to that level that they did. Like, you have to be fucking you just have to be stupid.
That was close there.
Yeah.
That was close.
Yeah.
Can't be throwing that out on the pod.
No. I saved myself there. Can't be Marcus Stokes, though. Sorry about that. Gators fans. But nonetheless, though, man, like, it's just you put yourself into a ridiculous situation. How do you respond to that? Because right now you've lost a team. It seems like there's no control on the program, and now your fans don't give a shit either.
Well, I think I heard it on game day, and this is just embarrassing for any college program. I think they were 33-point favorites in that game, something like that, 34-point favorites. And on game day, they said they're favored by more offensive points than they've put up all season. Like, in no game have they put up as many points as they were favored to beat UMass by. And then they still didn't put up that many points again.
Yeah, I think the best part of that game was the drunken relay it looked like in the stands. And that's serious. Listen, I understand it was raining, right? And I understand when the ball is completely saturated, it's hard to throw. But there's no reason for that performance to look the way it did. Like, that looked absolutely horrible. But, listen, we've talked a lot about these. Juan, I think you have someone special for your submission. Can you explain on yours?
My UNC Tar Heels. So I know on our last podcast, there was talk, UNC being, 11 and what it was, and then them having an opportunity to maybe win the ACC and then slide into the college football. I saw something on Facebook last week, with May and then Josh Downs. That's Caleb Downs' brother, for y'all that don't know. But they had him, and they were Drake and Josh, the little thing on, I think it's like Nickelodeon or Disney. Just how great they were. So it was just setting up for this whole big, clash with, Clemson for this AC championship. Both of them are 11-1, and they lost to Georgia Tech. The armpit of the ACC, like worst of the worst. They fired their coach. Georgia Tech is just awful. You are one of the highest scoring offenses in the nation. You've got ranked freshman quarterback in the nation that they were talking about. Hey man, his name needs to be put up there for some Heisman talk. And you score 17 points against
UNC. What happened?
That was bad. Yes, and that's right. Tech, Tech is down to so they wasn't even their starting quarterback, and then the starting quarterback, who was a sophomore, ended up getting hurt, and then they put in another guy that I can't even name. It's like Tyson's, former.
It was a former. He was a former Clemson guy. He transferred out.
Oh well, either way,
I think he was backup maybe.
Yeah. He ended up throwing a pick. I mean, so you mean to tell me? And I wonder I don't even know what the spread of that game was. It had to be almost 100 because that's how bad Georgia Tech is. And Georgia Tech goes and beats UNC at home, probably in front of maybe 3-4 fans. I
mean, basically, all you had to do was send the folks eating
21 points UNC's way was the spread.
Dude, look, I guarantee you, dude, all they did was they put a Waffle House guest, like the people eating the Waffle House, and just moved them over into the stadium. That's what happened. Like, nobody goes to watch these games. Let's be real.
Over was 64.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, it didn't even get close, did it?
Not even
21-17, wasn't it? Something like that?
Yeah, 21-17.
Oh my God. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think we're going to do an honorable mention. Actually, no, this is not an honorable mention. This is worthy. Miami. What happened? You couldn't even get 100 total yards of offense on Clemson. Now, during the summer, after y'all got, the Messiah, Mario Cristobal over there, I heard a lot of Miami fans saying Clemson better watch out. Yeah, they better watch out. They better watch out. Yeah, that's what I heard. Darius is reiterating what I'm about to say. Miami is garbage. Miami sucks.
Miami Ducks.
And he's not wrong. They are a duck. Fight me about that.
They look
atrocious.
I hate to use this word, but they look almost unfixable. Like, I mean, they think they have their guy for how many times in a row they think they've had their guy at head coach, and they just lost their quarterback to Florida. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Good. I'm just letting y'all know now. Florida State is the best team in Florida, and it ain't even close. It's not even close at this point. It's not. What's interesting, though, you see the recruiting aspect of things. And Miami did get Cormani from Florida, right, over Florida. But how much is it going to matter? Like I understand he's doing what he's doing with Manny's players, but there's still too much talent to be getting shit on that bad. That is unacceptable.
And you say he has Cormani for now. Ain't nothing been signed yet.
He might go to Jackson State with this point.
I'm just saying that at some point, in the world of recruiting today, until you sign that dotted line, and even then, there's nothing guaranteeing that Cormani McClain suits up in a Miami.